Hello, my dear fellow spiritual soul, and welcome to the channel where we work on transforming our inner selves together. In the last video, I discussed what is the dark night of the soul, the most difficult time of transformation we go through during the spiritual awakening process. In this video, I would elaborate the signs that you get when you are going through the dark night of the soul, and how can you ease this painful transformative process. So sit back and relax as we understand the signs that we might get during the process of the dark night of the soul, and what should we do when we are going through it. One of the first signs that we get when we're going through the dark night of the soul is when we realize that sensory pleasures and materialistic needs stop to satisfy us. We start to see how temporary the realm of sensory pleasures is, from a night out at the bar with friends to a shopping spree. Nothing excites us anymore. We start to see how fickle and impermanent the pleasures we receive from such events is. Materialistic pleasures, like a new phone, a pretty article of clothing, stops adding to our pleasure, and we start to see it in much more clearly, with much more insight into the situation. We almost start to disassociate with the part of ourselves who once indulged in these things to begin with. This dissociation might just be a very scary thing, as we haven't yet found the activities that would give us pleasure in the new phase of life. We almost reach a no man's land when nothing seems to give us pleasure. It is good to reach this place, as it is from here that our purge begins. When we go through the dark night of the soul, we get an intense urge to declutter our surroundings and our home. This decluttering does not stop with our house. We start to declutter the social circles as well. We start to identify the toxic people in our lives, and we start to cut them loose. This might just happen almost naturally for many of us. Many people during their dark night of the soul tend to shift their locations and move to a completely different area, leaving behind the cluttered houses and the toxic social circles they previously had. They go through these phases where they release the attachment they had with a certain group of people, situations, and places around them as a result of an emotional purge that they go through. The dark night of the soul also purges you on a physical and mental level. Some signs that we see of this physical purging during this process can result in an extremely disturbed sleeping and eating patterns. We might just sleep and rest for longer than usual, as our body requires this extra rest due to all the transformations it is going through. Many people during this time start identifying the limiting belief systems that have been holding them back in their lives, and this purge breaks their outdated behavioral patterns and sets them on the course of transformation. When you go through the dark night of the soul and the purge that follows, you start to dissociate with the things, people, and places that gave you pleasure prior to this point in your life. You don't enjoy the sensory and materialistic pleasures with the same excitement and intensity as we have discussed earlier. We have lost the initial drive, the initial motivation we had, but haven't yet discovered the things that would drive us in the next phase of our life. Michael B. Beckwith of Agape International Spiritual Center in Beverly Hills, California, stated, "A dark night of the soul is when you don't know who you are becoming, while you are releasing the old parts of you. In other words, we experience a major void, a period of nothingness, where we have no vision of the future, and this can be extremely painful." This feeling lost and stuck makes us appreciate the notion of freedom with much depth, and we begin to crave freedom like we have never done before. We start to notice how the civilized world has put in checks and barriers on our individual freedom and put us into the state of preoccupation and paranoia. When we go through the dark night of the soul and the purge that follows it, we lose everything we associated our personalities to be. We do not enjoy the same things, similar life situations, and the company of the same people we enjoyed prior to this point in our lives. This dissociation with everything we once enjoyed is a reason for an ego death experience. The Czech psychiatrist Stanislav Grof explained that ego death means an irreversible end to one's philosophical identification with what Alan Watts called the skin encapsulated ego. Many people who go through this process might get visions or dreams of them passing away. Some people also see the death of the people they knew and were close to. These visions and dreams are symbolic of the death of your ego self, the identity you associated as yourself up until this point in your life. This can be a time of extreme pain and might feel very scary. I request you to ground yourself, oh my fellow spiritual soul, and let go. Let go of this attachment, for this death of your ego will make you meet your true self, the real power inside of you, the abundance you hold, the eternal love that you possess. As the dark night of the soul makes us question and reevaluate our thought processes and behavioral patterns, we start to look at the notion of a successful life under a different light. Our newfound appreciation for our freedom makes us revise the life choices we have been making with a newfound understanding. As we still have not fully evolved into our new thought processes and behavioral patterns, we still struggle to identify the exact definition of success for us in our new life. But we definitely dissociate with what we thought as success until this point of our lives. We start to gravitate more towards a meaningful life than a conventionally successful one. Dark night of the soul makes us want to understand our purpose in life, the thing that gives our life a meaning. And finding this meaning is what we associate as success. Howard Truman says, "Don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what this world needs are people who have come alive. The thing that makes you come alive, full of life, might just be the thing that gives your life a meaning. I request you, oh my fellow spiritual soul, to do that one thing that makes you come alive. As Howard Truman said, it is this thing that will lead you to your abundance. It is this thing that will lead you to your peace. We go through the periods of deep transformation during the dark night of the soul, where our deepest traumas, thought patterns, and conditioning comes to the surface. We begin to get aware of the patterns we have developed through our conditioning since childhood. This process of uncovering the deepest, darkest secrets of our ego needs for us to be away from distraction, almost in a meditative state, witnessing these patterns like an observer and not like a participant. Dark night of the soul makes us appreciate the importance of being alone. This solitude sets the stage where we witness the demise of our ego. We need this time of solitude to dissociate from who we thought ourselves to be and see ourselves as the microcosm within the macrocosm, tiny stars within the great universe, droplets of water in the vast cosmic ocean. Kafka explained this almost poetically. He wrote, "This tremendous world I have inside of me, how to free myself and this world without tearing myself to pieces, and rather tear myself to 1,000 pieces than be buried with this world within me." This happens as the emotions attached to these experiences might just hold a key to your transformation. As your ego breathes the last of its breaths, all the issues and experiences that shaped it into its present state begin to reveal itself. These memories that surface during this time points towards the unresolved issues we have been carrying subconsciously within ourselves. A close and extensive examination of these experiences and memories is a must. Meditating upon any feelings that is surfacing during this time and detaching yourself with the pain it had caused you in the past helps in the healing process. This is all a part of a great purge your ego is going through, painful as it may be. Let it pass, and I can promise you that you will come out of it stronger than ever. The term anomie was brought into the public attention by the French sociologist Émile Durkheim in his 1987 book titled Suicide. Anomie is a time when the guidance, standards, and the moral values of a society fails to hold intact. Anomie usually evolves from a conflict of belief systems between the individual and the community. It makes the individual disagree with the widespread belief systems of the society, and a conflict arises where the personal belief of an individual does not resonate with the belief systems of society at large. When we go through the dark night of the soul and walk through the dungeons of our spiritual depression, the common narrative of belief systems and spirituality prevalent in the society stops appeasing us. We start getting attached towards the Eastern philosophy and the power we hold in the universe. These newfound belief systems conflict with the mass belief system of our community, and we experience a stage of anomie. Cognitive dissonance occurs when conflicting attitudes, belief systems, and behaviors are present within the same individuals. This makes us feel extremely discomfortable until one of the attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors is given up to reduce the discomfort and restore the balance. Do you feel more than one ideology or belief systems conflicting inside of you? This happens as we have been raised up until this point, conditioned by the beliefs and ideologies of our families and society around us. As our spiritual awakening process begins and we go through the detox of the dark night, we reach this no man's land, where we have not yet accepted the new belief systems to its fullest, neither have we let go of the conditioning-based belief systems from our childhood. This is the reason for the conflict within us. This is the reason we are experiencing the cognitive dissonance. So my dear fellow spiritual soul, I am glad that you've made it to this point in the video, and if you resonate with the signs I have talked about up until this point, I would like to congratulate you, for your soul has begun its ascension and you are on the path to your spiritual awakening. You might not resonate with each of these signs, as all of us are on our own individual journeys, and some people might experience one of these signs much more strongly than the other ones, which is completely fine. Resonating with the majority of them definitely does point to the fact that you are experiencing a dark night of the soul indeed. Now the obvious questions arise within you. How do I get out of this dark night of the soul? How do I navigate this painful process? How do I move from the dark night of the soul to freedom? Well, I totally get your concerns, and I will now be elaborating on some tips that will help you go through this process. So let us take a deep breath to calm ourselves and begin. Understand that there is nothing to fix here. It is a process initiated by our soul, and our soul is well aware of the fact that you have the strength to see this through. The soul desires growth and expansion. It does not want to be bound by the chains of conditioning the society has put upon it. Relax and let the soul expand. Let it manifest into its full potential. The pain that we are suffering is because of the death of our skin-encapsulated ego. Our soul is stronger than ever and on the verge of a breakthrough. The intense feelings and emotions are a part of your ego which have been hidden inside your subconscious without you even being aware about it. Let them come to the surface, come to your awareness. For as they come to your awareness, they lose their power to control you, to influence your behavior. Our ego does not enjoy this pain and emotions coming to the surface, for this unraveling of them will be the reason for its death. The pain that we go through is the pain caused by our ego to hold on to these emotions and stopping us from processing them. I would strongly suggest you to sit with them. Sit with the discomfort, as it is this that will help you heal yourself and free you from the clutches of your ego self. A person going through the dark night of the soul automatically enters a hermit mode where they slowly wait out their transformation. Most of our ego is built upon the conditioning of the society around us. When your soul begins to awaken and you see through this conditioning, you're pushed into the dark night of the soul. The society outside tries to influence your thought processes and create biases and prejudices in your belief system. It is better to go through this process alone and realize for your own self your new set of belief systems that will guide you in the next chapter of your life. It would be great if you could connect with nature and ground yourself. Go on a retreat in a place surrounded by nature, secluded from the society. This is indeed the best time for a solo trip that you have been planning. With all the changes taking place in your being, this process definitely feels overwhelming and uncomfortable. Meditating upon the feelings, emotions, and old memories that surface helps you in understanding the impact they had on you and does facilitate your healing process. Meditation and centering yourselves helps you in integrating all the changes taking place inside of you. It is the most powerful tool you have during this time. It is when you go inside your own self, when you realize all that is held inside of you, waiting to be expelled out. Let it all out, all the pain and the sorrows, all the regrets and the emotions. Wipe the slate clean. Start afresh, start anew. Next video would be a bit different, and I have planned a beautiful guided meditation for all the spiritual souls here going through the painful process of the dark night. The meditation is designed to provide us some much needed help and relief during this difficult process of spiritual awakening. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy such spiritual content and leave a like and comment if it was helpful. I would love to hear back from you guys. Until the next time, thank you and have a beautiful day.